You, Mr. Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank all of the witnesses for your presence here today. Let me begin with Professor Malcolm. The National Rifle Association opposes expanding background checks to cover firearm purchases at gun shows, true?
The right to life? I didn't get the first part of
The NRA.
Oh, the NRA.
You're familiar with
Yes.
that organization, correct?
Yes, I didn't. Yes.
Okay. They oppose background checks to cover the gun show loophole, true?
There's almost no gun show loophole.
Okay.
They're virtually, but they do not want a registry, and they do not want things made more cumbersome for people who would like to be able to get
Claiming my time, I didn't say anything about a registry. You oppose expanding the background check requirement for the gun show purchases, true?
We're not just talking about gun shows. We're talking about making people in private sales have to go through background checks and making the whole system much more cumbersome.
I'm asking you specifically about gun shows. Do you support expanding background checks to cover gun shows or not?
There's almost no need for that.
Okay, I take that as a no, thank you. In terms of expanding background checks for gun sales on the internet, the NRA opposes expanding background checks to cover such sales, true?
I'm really not privy to all of their decisions on these things.
Okay, you oppose background checks as it relates to internet gun show sales, true?
I would like, can I just say, I would like to see the background check that we now have used properly. And it is not, because too many people are not put on that background check who ought to be.
Okay, now you are the Patrick Henry Professor of Constitutional Law and the Second Amendment at George Mason University, is that right?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that this position is bought and paid for by the NRA?
I don't know.
Okay, this position was created in 2003, true?
I don't know what the background is, but I will say that that George Mason University has been very conscious of being sure that any contributions to the law school for any particular positions don't have any strings attached. And you can check what, the procedures are for that.
Okay, now when the position was created, it was a direct result of a $1 million endowment from the National Rifle Association Foundation, correct?
I was not at George Mason University in 2002, so I really don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
You seem to have more information about it than I do.
Okay. The NRA Foundation has continued to give money to the law school, is that right?
I assume so, if that was an endowment.
Okay. I asked unanimous consent to enter.
You think that's funny? I really don't know.
No, I didn't laugh. I asked you, this is not a laughing matter. This is a gun violence epidemic that we have in America. Now, let me ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the 990 forms from the NRA Foundation for the years 2012, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Without objection, the documents will be entered into the record.
So in 2012, the NRA Foundation gave $100,000 to the law school in connection with the position that you hold and for, quote, Second Amendment study, correct?
Well, I presume that they did, but they didn't have anything to do with my particular job.
Okay,
I don't get a penny more for having that.
Okay, you arrived in 2013, is that right?
Excuse me?
You arrived in 2013?
2006.
You arrived?
I didn't have the chair until later.
That's correct. In 2013, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, now in 2013, the NRA Foundation gave $100,000 to the George Mason University Law School for, quote, Second Amendment study, true?
Presumably they did.
In 2014, the NRA Foundation gave $100,000 to the George Mason University Law School for, quote, special grants, other studies related to the Second Amendment, true?
They have not subsidized anything that I have done. I was hired, I was given this chair because I had already done serious work on the legal and constitutional background of the Second Amendment.
Okay, what we found is that the NRA has given $1 million to endow the position that you now hold, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last several years. And the problem is we can have a legitimate debate about how to deal with the gun violence epidemic, but it's hard to have that legitimate debate when the NRA functions as holding others who are supposedly participating in this debate like they are wholly owned subsidiaries. Not saying you are or you aren't, but we do know that in connection with the position you hold, it's funded by the National Rifle Association. I yield back.
Thank you. The time of the gentleman has expired.
Mr. Chairman,